world history in this mad, long thread of epic poetry, starting from the universe's creation through Greco-Roman mythology, etc. This is Daedalus and Icarus. Daedalus now had come to detest his protracted exile in Crete and was longing to visit his native country again. But his way was barred by the sea. King Minos can block my escape by land or water, he sighed. The air at least is still open. My path lies there. He is Lord of the world, but not Lord of the sky. Just so you know, if you're familiar with Daedalus and Icarus, he gets a wee mention in one of the songs on the last album. But am I spoiling it if I tell you that? If you don't know, just this is part of an epic poem, so it's not, it's a very different style, and it's about 2,000 years older than anything I've just read. The air at least is still open. My path lies there. He is Lord of the world, but not Lord of the sky. So saying, he put his mind to techniques unexplored before and altered the laws of nature. He carefully layered some feathers, the smallest to start with, the shorter positioned next to the longer. You'd think they had grown like that, as sometimes rustic panpipes rise in a gradual slope with their reeds of unequal length. And then he bound them with twine in the middle and wax at the bottom. This neatly compacted plumage, he curved in a gentle camber to imitate real birds' wings. His young son, Icarus, standing beside him, and little aware of the threat to himself he was touching, smiled as he caught at the feathers fluttering in the breeze. And now and again he would carelessly soften the yellow wax with his thumb, enjoying his game as he meddled and interfered with his father's wonderful work. But soon the finishing touches were deftly laid, and Daedalus balanced his aged body on both of his wings, then beat at the air and hovered, suspended. Next he instructed his son, "Now Icarus, listen carefully. Keep to the middle way. If you fly too low, the water will clog your wings. If you fly too high, they'll be scorched by fire. Fly between sea and sun. No need to determine your course by Boötes the bear or Orion's naked sword. Like a sailor, simply follow my lead." As he gave his pupil his flying orders, he fitted the wings on the boy's inexperienced shoulders, and while he did it, the old man's cheeks were wet with tears, and his hands were trembling in fatherly fear. Then, kissing the lips of his darling son for the very last time, he rose on his wings and flew in front, as afraid for the lad as a bird escorting her fledgling out of her mountain nest to float on the breezes. "Follow," he cried, as he taught him the skills that would prove his downfall. Moving his own two wings, he kept looking back at his sons. They were spied by a fisherman dangling his catch on his quivering rod, a shepherd at rest on his crook, and a ploughman steering his ploughshare. All watched in amazement, thinking, they certainly must be gods to fly through the air. Now Juno's island, Samos, was coming up on the left. Delos and Paros were far behind them. Lebynthos lay to the right with the honey-rich island, Calymne. When all this adventurous flying went to Icarus's head, he ceased to follow his leader. He'd fallen in love with the sky and soared up higher and higher. The scorching rays of the sun grew closer and softened the fragrant wax which fastened his plumage. The wax dissolved, and as Icarus flapped his naked arms, deprived of the wings which had caught the air that was buoying them upwards, "Father," he shouted again and again. But the boy and his shouting were drowned in the blue-green main which is called the Icarian Sea. His unhappy father no longer a father, called out, "Icarus, where are you, Icarus? Where on earth shall I find you? Icarus," he kept crying, and then he caught sight of the wings in that water. Daedalus cursed the skill of his hands and buried his dear son's corpse in a grave. The land where he lies is known as Icaria. Poor lad. Poor lad.